Long-standing hostility between Tehran and Washington reaches back to the 1979 Islamic Revolution and the U.S. Embassy seizure. Over decades, hostilities have evolved into proxy wars, especially in Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and Iraq. Iran's nuclear ambitions, including uranium enrichment beyond civilian thresholds, have been central to U.S. and Israeli concerns. Despite Iranian denials, Israel has long claimed Iran is on the verge of nuclear armament, fueling regional tensions. House of Commons Library. The Israel-Iran conflict. On June 13, 2025, Israel launched a surprise wave of airstrikes on Iranian targets, including nuclear and military installations, and claimed to have killed several senior commanders and scientists. Iran responded with missile and drone barrages into Israeli territory. The violence escalated across 12 days. Wikipedia. House of Commons Library. Amid escalating Israeli action and escalating fears of a broader massacre, the U.S. formally entered the conflict on June 22, 2025, joining Israel in military operations against Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Al Jazeera. 2. Operation Midnight Hammer, U.S. Strategic Strike. Planning and Objectives. The operation was internally designated Operation Midnight Hammer. Only top-level U.S. leadership, including President Donald Trump, approved the mission. Its primary goal: deal a crippling blow to Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity without seeking regime change. President Trump emphasized that the intention was not to topple Iran's government, while warning Tehran of more strikes if escalation continued. Wikipedia. +4. IndiaTVNews.com. +4. BusinessInsider.com. +4. Forces and tactics employed. 7 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers flew from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri on an 18-hour eastbound mission, total mission duration 37 hours, refueling midair multiple times. Wikipedia. +1. B-2S dropped 14 GBU-57A/B Massive Ordnance Penetrator, MOP, 30,000 LB bunker buster bombs on Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan nuclear sites. GulfNews.com. +12. Wikipedia. +12. Wikipedia. +12. A U.S. submarine launched 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles against Natanz and Isfahan as a supplement strike. Wikipedia. +1. Preceding attacks by Israel against Iran's air defense, starting June 13, allowed the U.S. bombers free passage. Neither significant Iranian surface-to-air fire nor radar interference was reported during the mission. Wikipedia. +2. Wikipedia. +2. 3. Precise timeline and execution. June 22, 2025, approximate 2:10 to 2:30 a.m. local Iranian time, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time previous day. 6 B-2S attacked Fordow sequentially, targeting drone shafts deep inside the mountain complex. 1 bomber dropped 2 bunker bomb on Natanz. Submarine-launched Tomahawks hit Natanz and Isfahan later, finishing within 30 minutes. Wikipedia. Al Jazeera. President Trump publicly declared the mission a major success, claiming the facilities were completely and totally obliterated, and that U.S. aircraft had exited Iranian airspace safely. Al Jazeera. +2. BusinessInsider.com. +2. 4. Immediate effects and damage assessment. Operational impact. Satellite imagery showed visible craters and disruption at Fordow. Iranian sources later confirmed severe damage at all sites. Wikipedia. +2. House of Commons Library. +2. Initial U.S. intelligence assessments suggested delays of a few months to Iran's nuclear timeline, but Pentagon later stated the setback may be 1 to 2 years. Wikipedia. +1. Radiation and civilian risk. IAEA reported no detectable increase in radiation or contamination near the targeted sites. Iranian authorities corroborated that field surveys found no danger to civilians nearby. Al Jazeera. Human and leadership toll. Official casualty numbers remain unclear, though reports indicate death of key nuclear scientists and over 1,000 total fatalities during the wider conflict as of late July. At least 29 Israelis and 1,062 Iranians died. House of Commons Library. Iran formed a new Supreme National Defense Council led by President Masoud Pezeshkian to coordinate its post-war recovery. IPNews.com. 5. Regional and global fallout. Iranian retaliation and escalation risk. Iran vowed retaliation. Within hours of the U.S. strikes, Iran launched dozens of drones and missiles toward Israel and threatened U.S. military installations across the region. Iran's military leaders publicly affirmed that U.S. had explicitly entered the war, and Iran reserved the right to respond by all means necessary. Al Jazeera. Diplomatic and legal reactions. Iran sharply condemned the strikes as violations of United Nations Charter, IAEA safeguards, and the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. IndiaTVNews.com. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation denounced Israel's and implicitly the U.S.'s military aggression. Gulf states like Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia expressed alarm and urged restraint. TimesOfIsrael.com. GulfNews.com. Western allies and intelligence communities. Western leaders, including the UK, EU, Canada, issued a joint statement condemning Iranian intelligence plots targeting dissidents around the world, a development occurring amid regional hostilities. FT.com. Russia criticized the U.S. action as a perilous precedent for bombarding nuclear facilities under pretext of non-proliferation, urging that dialogue replace further military escalation. Reuters.com. Critical analysis. Commentators, such as The Guardian, argue the U.S. and Israeli strikes undermine diplomatic mechanisms, increased repression within Iran, and risked solidifying Iran's resolve to pursue nuclear weapons. They warn that the strikes may have fractured Western unity, strengthened authoritarian elements in Iran, and emboldened nuclear proliferation globally. TheGuardian.com. 6. Long-term implications. Nuclear deterrence and proliferation. Rather than eliminating Iran's nuclear potential, the operation appears to have accelerated Iran's determination to build hard deterrence. Analysts suggest the attacks may paradoxically increase likelihood of nuclear development rather than deter it. Box. TheGuardian.com. U.S. foreign policy shift. The spike in U.S. military involvement under President Trump marks a notable pivot from his earlier America First isolationism. Though Congress voiced concern over executive authority and potential entanglement in a protracted conflict. Time.com. IPNews.com. Iranian internal politics. The death toll among scientists and commanders, combined with domestic repression and economic hardship, has intensified internal instability. Iran's leadership now contends with protests, water crises, and distrust. NYPost.com. Regional stability at risk. The conflict broadened regional divisions. While alliances shifted, maritime routes like the Strait of Hormuz became flashpoints, and proxy groups such as the Houthis vowed further opposition. The risk of expanded war involving Russia, China, or other powers remains serious.